Hello class. Today we will take up the second chapter of your book, Unitary and the Federal States. In the previous videos, we have taken up the three forms of states: the totalitarian, authoritarian, and liberal democratic state. Now, on the basis of division of powers between the central government and the state governments, we have two types of government, that is unitary and the federal states. Unitary state, as the name itself tells us, unitary word says single. So unitary state is identified or marked by the presence of single central government. It does not have any state governments or the local bodies running in the countries. And the federal states have a central government for the entire country, and then they have the state governments or the federal governments for the respective federations or the states. Today we will take up unitary state. Now, a unitary state is marked by the presence of one powerful central government. The constitution of the country vests all the powers with the central government. There is only one executive, legislature, and the judiciary. Now, there is absence of provincial governments or the local bodies. In case of a unitary government, the state governments or the local bodies do not exist, and even if they exist at the will of the central government. In fact, it is the central government which brings the local bodies into existence. And these local bodies do not have any autonomy. They cannot function on their own. They cannot take their own decision. They have to take the prior approval of central government for all the decisions that they want to take or anything that they want to do at the local level. Examples are UK, France, China, and they're in fact out of 192 members of the United Nations, 165 countries or 165 states have a unitary form of government. Now, the Gardner has defined the unitary government as a government where the whole power of government is conferred by the constitution on a single central organ, through which, central organ means the central government, through which the local government derive whatever authority or autonomy they possess and indeed their very existence. That means the local governments, they get all the authority or autonomy, whatever powers they have, all the powers are derived from the central government. So let us look at the features of the unitary form of government. The first feature says that powerful central government. Now, why is the central government called powerful? Because the central government has the supreme authority over all its people, all the subjects, and in fact all the organizations which are working in the state. Any law which is passed by the central government is binding on all the people and the organizations of the state. The second point is absence of provincial autonomous bodies. We have already discussed that the local provincial means the local bodies or for the different provinces, the states, either they are absent or even if they are present, they are not autonomous. They derive all their power from the central government. Now, because there is no division of power between the center and the state, the constitution may be written or it may be unwritten. Now, we need a written constitution in case where we want to clearly define the powers which are vested with the central government and the ones which are vested with the state governments. But in case of unitary government, we do not have a state government. Therefore, the question of division of power does not arise. So we may have a written constitution or we may not have a written constitution in case of a unitary government. The next point is flexibility of constitution and administration. Now, why is there flexibility of constitution? Because the unitary state can easily make amendments in the constitution because the ratification of the state governments is not required as they do not exist. So it is the central government who has to make the changes, and it can easily make the changes by a simple majority. Administration is simple because they do not have to consult or collaborate with the state governments to implement any rules or regulations. So the administration also is very, very easy and flexible. The citizens of the unitary state have a single citizenship, unlike the federal states where people have dual citizenship. One is of the central government and the other of the state. In case of unitary government or unitary form of government, the citizens of the country have the citizenship only of the country. A unitary government has its own pros and cons. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. So let us take a look at the merits or advantages of a unitary form of government. The first merit is that the government is very, very strong. Why is it strong? Because it can take decisions and it does not have to collaborate with the state governments as they are absent. So can easily and promptly take the decisions. So the government is very, very strong. Simple and less expensive. Because there is only one central government, the cost is lesser, because if a country has both the central and the state governments, it becomes expensive to carry out the administrative works, etc. So it's very it's simple and it is less expensive as compared to a federation. There is flexibility in administration because there is no state government to interfere in the working of the central government. So the administration of central government is quite flexible and they can adapt themselves to the changing needs of the country. This type of government is suitable for small states because of its flexibility and economy, because it is less expensive. So small states cannot afford a very elaborate and expensive system of administration. So such type of government is very, very suitable for small states. Now, because there is only one government, it cannot just shoulder off the responsibilities. It has to be accountable for all the actions or all the acts of commission and omission that it does. So if there's any lack, there's any problem, the central government has to take the accountability of that. Unitary form of government is very, very useful in meeting emergencies because of its features of taking quick and prompt decisions due to the absence of any interference from the state governments. Now, along with the merits, the unitary form of government also has got its demerits. The first demerit is that the central government is very powerful and there is all possibility that the central government starts behaving arbitrarily and they try to do and get away with whatever they want to do, ignoring the general welfare of the people. The second is danger of inefficiency. No, there is only one central government, so it may find it difficult to reach the people living in different parts of the country, and the local developments can be ignored and hence it can become inefficient. The third is ignores local needs because the central government is always busy with the national projects or matters of national importance. It may ignore the local needs. The big states which have got different people from different who speak different languages, different interest groups, etc. Such type of government is not suitable for a very, very big states because the local needs and aspirations of the peoples cannot be fulfilled by a single central government. The other demerit is dependence on bureaucracy. Bureaucracy means the government officials. Now, such type of government has to depend on the government officials because there is no state government. So all the work is to be done by the government officials. Now because of the dependence on bureaucracy, there may emerge red tapeism and corruption. Now, red tapeism means these government officials, they try to adhere strictly to the rules and regulations, which can lead to delay in the decision-making process and implementations of the work. And it can also breed corruption within the system. And then people may have major issue with these bureaucrats. Less chances of popular participation. Now, how do we participate? We participate through the political parties. Now, because there is only one central government and no state governments, the number of political parties are bound to be lesser as compared to the other states. Lesser number of parties means lesser political workers, and lesser political workers means lesser participation in political process. So these are the demerits of the unitary state. Along with the features, merits, demerits of unitary state, we also have to study United Kingdoms as a unitary state, the features of UK as a unitary state. Now, what features of UK make it a unitary state? The first feature is that there is present single central government with all the legislative, executive and judiciary powers. The local governments derive their power from central government. However, they have full functional autonomy. They function on their own. They do not have to take the prior approval of the central government for every small decisions. There's no division of power between the central and the state governments. All the power is vested with the central government. It only delegates the authority to take decisions to the local governments, and it can at any time withdraw that power which it has delegated to the local bodies. Then there is single uniform system of law for the whole country. There's a central government which makes the law and it is applicable for the entire country. There is single, unwritten and a very flexible constitution. At any time, the constitution can be amended by a simple majority. So that's another point. And the British Parliament has the power to amend the constitution by passing a law by simple majority. So these are the features of UK as unitary state, and this is very important for you to learn. So kindly learn the features of UK as unitary state. In the next video, we will take up the features of a federal state. Till then, stay safe and take care. Thank you.